Joining us to discuss Colombia's newest major discovery is Ari Sussman of Collective Mining. Mr. Sussman, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Maurice, always a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
Well, great to have you back as Collective Mining continues to expand the dimensions of the high-grade, shallow zone of mineralization at the Apollo porphyry system, along with intersects of significant visual mineralization on the newly discovered contact zone. Mr. Sussman, take us on site to the high-grade bulk tonnage Apollo target, where your team is currently working on your Phase 2 drill program for 2023. Before we get into today's results, what is the objective of Phase 2, and how far along is your team into the program?
Well, Maurice, there really are two parts to Phase 2, Part A and Part B. Part A, which is wrapping up right now, was to confirm via discovery that the Apollo porphyry system came to surface. We can successfully check that box. We've been putting out results consistently from Pad 6 and Pad 7 since January of this year, and we've hit on every single hole with mineralization, with high-grade mineralization beginning at surface. The second part of the program began. It's underway, as we speak. And what its goal is twofold. It's threefold actually. One, it's to expand the overall dimensions of the entire Apollo porphyry system. Two, it's to test the 6 satellite targets that we generated around Apollo. So they're part of the Apollo target area, but they're not. We don't know if they're connected to the porphyry itself. But we announced these, I think, about 4 weeks ago, and that drilling will start imminently. And then the third and final phase is to test new targets on the greater Guayabales property. And stay tuned to that. I urge your viewers, because we've got something exciting coming down the pipeline once we receive assays on a brand new target area to the east of Apollo, which will keep its name private for now until we're ready to make the announcement.
Well, looking forward to that. And speaking of expansion, Collective Mining just received results from holes APC 53, 44, and 46, beginning on Pad 10 with APC 53, where your team intersected 2 distinct zones of mineralization. Tell us more about the discovery and the work being conducted on APC 53.
Well, this is truly exciting stuff, APC 53. Just for some background for your viewers, our last press release from a couple of weeks ago, we announced results from probe holes APC 41 and 42. And those were called probe holes because they were probing for the contact zone. What that means, the contact zone, is our deposit, although it's a porphyry, it's within a breccia inside the porphyry. And we were postulating, based on some evidence and based on what's known about these intermineral breccias and porphyries from textbooks, is that the edges might contain better grade. So 41 and 42 were drilled. 41 was drilled too oblique to the contact. We still hit nice grade. 42 was then, we corrected the orientation and drilled more perpendicular to the contact, and we cut 105 meters at about 5.5 grams gold equivalent. Remarkable result. So based on the visuals of that, we plotted hole 53, which you mentioned, from Pad 10 to drill the contact to the northeast. Okay, the entire deposit outcrops in the south and is dipping as it moves to the northeast and to the north and to the northwest. Meaning it's getting plunges. I apologize. Meaning it's getting deeper. Mm-hmm. So based on the modeling, we plotted this hole, and we expected to hit nothing from surface down to about 230 meters, and then we would enter the contact zone within the breccia and the outer porphyry rock. Well, we had a surprise. Okay, so you mentioned 2 zones were intercepted. Mm-hmm. The first zone started right at surface to about 150 meters depth. And what we see in that zone visually is it's porphyry host rock, but it's absolutely blitzed with sheeted veins. So these are the late stage, what we call carbonate base metal veins. And they're mainly veinlets, but there's so many of them in such density that we're hopeful, obviously with the caution that we need the lab to verify, that this will contain some grade. So that is a big surprise, because that will extend the shallow or at surface portion of the deposit pretty materially to the northeast. In fact, I think we'd extend the strike to more than 200 meters, assuming this interval runs. And then we went for about 80 meters after that zone, from about 150 to about 233 meters, into what looks like a post-mineral intrusion, not expecting to find much grade in that at all. But then at 233 meters, for visually about another 285 meters in total length, we went into the main Apollo porphyry breccia zone. Okay, and it looks remarkable. What we see in this zone is, again, it absolutely blitzed with these CBM veins, these sheeted veins. But in addition to that, we see a lot of the original porphyry fluids. So meaning, in our case, a lot of chalcopyrite. Chalcopyrite is the main mineral that we have in our system in which the copper is found. So we're expecting to find a very high-grade zone over at least 250 to 285 meters. And then we'll see what comes after that. The hole did continue further. And it actually may have, if we hit at the end, near the end of the hole, extend the overall system, the overall dimensions of the system to the northeast by a little bit. So we're definitely visually extending the shallow portion, and we might have some extension, and we're expecting some high grades. This is really remarkable stuff. The team on site is quite ecstatic from the visuals. We expect to get assay results, Maurice, sometime in mid-June from that hole, and can't wait to get them.
Oh, this sounds fantastic. Fantastic, and congratulations. Now, leaving pad 10, let's visit pad 6 and look at APC 44 and 46 respectively. Let's begin with APC 44, where collective mining drilled steeply into the northwest from surface. What can you share with us?
Okay, so those were two more holes from the fan drilling we're doing from pad 6 to understand the at-surface mineralization and its continuity, down to typically 350 meters depth. This hole happened to go 428 meters, and we cut 1.41 grams per ton gold equivalent. That includes, like all the holes, a nice oxide zone, in this case 22 meters at just north of 3 grams starting right from surface. Okay, so excellent continuity, big intercept, obviously at 428 meters. I should add for your viewers that hole bottomed in mineralization as well. Details are in the press release, but I believe the final 7 meters was just under 1 gram before we stopped the hole. We are stopping these holes intentionally in mineralization. The goal isn't to test the depths, it's to determine the shallower portion of the system, because obviously in any mining scenario, that's what's going to be mined first. The second hole, which was APC 46, cut 358 meters from surface at 1.52 grams per ton gold equivalent, and again also bottomed in mineralization, and once again had a higher grade oxide zone from surface over the first about 20 meters at about 3 grams. That hole actually extended the shallow portion of the system slightly to the west, so we've grown the outcropping portion of the system by, it now measures about 160 meters by 130 meters and open in most directions for expansion. So both nice holes. Some people are saying, well, the grade wasn't as high as previous drilling. Yeah, but 1.5 grams approximately is still very exciting from surface. And again, these are at the lower end of what we hit. We were hoping that the next set of holes that come out will show even better grade than this, as we're accustomed to seeing.
Well, Mr. Sussman, the Apollo target continues to demonstrate to the market that collective mining has a significant discovery, which begs me to ask, what is your team working on now, and when can we expect the next set of results?
Let's take the latter part of that question first. So next set of results are in 2 weeks or less. Okay, we're going to see assay results from 2 holes from pad 7, which are holes 45 and 48, as well as the lone hole that we drilled from pad 4 to the north, which is hole 47. So those are expected in the next couple of weeks. As far as what we are working on, so a couple of things. Number one, expansion drilling is underway. Okay, so we didn't highlight it in this release because we're in the detailed logging phase, but we will announce visuals, probably in that next press release once the detailed logging is finished. But hole 55, APC 55, drilled from pad 6, potentially may have materially extended the entire size of the system to the northeast. Obviously, let's wait for the logging to confirm that, and more importantly, for when we'll have assays sometime in June for that. That is important. So we're drilling these big step-out holes right now. We will be starting the satellite targets within the Apollo area, the 6 of them. That drilling will start in June. And as I mentioned earlier, we have another big target far to the east, and the Guayabales property, which is another porphyry intrusion that has all the right characteristics for it. We will be making that announcement soon once we have assay results to validate what we're seeing visually. We believe we're going to make another discovery here, Maurice. This is what my point is. Porphyry systems occur in clusters, okay? I can't promise that we're going to make an economic discovery, with significant tonnage. Mother Nature will have to determine that for us. But the odds are strong that we will drill another porphyry. We found one. Okay, we have the Apollo porphyry. There will be more. We think, there are two clusters, within our Guayabales property that we're testing in the near term, the Apollo one and this new one to the east, which will be named in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then we have other ones to the north, which are really going to be attacked in 2024. So very aggressive drilling for 2023. From this day forward, everything is going to be about growth. Next year, 2024, will be about figuring out how do we move forward to do a resource estimate, on this very clear multi-million ounce equivalent system. But the hunt is on for more. Let's see what we can find. We've got a lot of cash. We had $28 million at the beginning of April in the bank. That is US dollars, well financed, to go hard, and 3 rigs going to 4, ultimately going to 5 in the fall. Let's hit this thing with everything we got.
Well, a number of catalysts on the horizon. Let's leave the project site and get into some numbers. Mr. Sussman, please provide the capital structure for Collective Mining.
60.2 million shares out. I believe the current quote is around $6 Canadian. That puts the market cap with the current FX rate is slightly under 300 million US. We have, as I mentioned, $28 million in cash as of the beginning of April. That will be updated shortly, but we're burning about $1 million per month, give or take. And lastly, I think very importantly, management and insiders are aligned with shareholders. We own 46% of the 60.2 million shares outstanding. So we are going to benefit from the shares. We are motivated from the share price. And that is our goal, to get this thing up as high as we can go and ultimately sell the company.
And just for the record, I am an active buyer of Collective Mining. As I shared with you last week, I believe my last purchase price was at $6.91. So I'm an active participant in the growth of Collective Mining, and I'm going to be with you all the way, sir.
I appreciate your support, Maurice. We're on to something special. It's very rare to make discoveries like this. I mean, viewers should remember this is a unique combination, of scale and grade for bulk tonnage systems, right? This is a porphyry system with unusually high grade. And the last point I'll leave you with is the reason for that high grade is we have multiple fluid pulses dumping metal into the same area. We have the actual physical porphyry itself, and then we have late stage veins overprinting all in the same area, and that results in high grade.
Well, Mr. Sussman, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Wishing you and Collective Mining the absolute best, sir.
Thank you, Maurice. Have a great rest of the week and appreciate the opportunity to be here.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.